Welcome to an exclusive episode where I reflect on all of my learnings for the last 86 episodes. I've taken a pause. I really wanted to pause and reflect and focus on the key aspects that my listeners, yourself, my viewers really want to learn about. And from those, what the really key insights were from all the guests that have been on my show, Brain Health, Unchaining Your Pain, and sharing their stories and explaining how they have helped themselves unchain their own pain and also the pain of others too. But before I do that, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, who have commented on the episodes that are out there now, who have provided some wonderful feedback and some great insights into how the episodes have really been helping you in furthering your knowledge and truly helping you unchain your pain. So just want to say a huge thank you. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel or any of the podcasting platforms that you're watching. It really does make a huge difference. It helps me reach more people and it helps me get great guests on the show. Without further ado, let's dive into the 5 key insights that I have gleaned from my interviews so far with my guests on the show. So the first insight, and the one that I think is the most important factor that you need to consider in terms of how you're going to optimize your brain and body health, is what you eat and what you drink really matters. That is the most important factor to getting your brain and whole body health right. There are 25 episodes so far discussing this impact on your brain and whole body health. One of the most viewed episodes is episode 57 with Patrick Holford, where he discusses importance of food for the brain and how you can use food to reverse Alzheimer's disease. And this is absolutely groundbreaking and really important for all of those out there that are suffering with cognitive decline, because you are really truly not stuck with the brain you have. You have the power to make it better, and food is one of the key elements that can really help you reverse any cognitive decline. So the key things he talks about here is what you should be eating, and what you should be minimizing in terms of food intake, minimizing processed foods, minimizing sugar, and maximizing healthy fats, maximizing nutritional variety, and maximizing the key nutrients that are necessary to support your cognitive health. And that's omega-3, DHA and EPA, and also B12, and they work in synergy with one another. So it's really important that you optimize both of those and you get your levels checked, and that you optimize them. Once you've determined what they are, please do seek nutritional advice on that. There's loads of links in the episode show notes on what you can do and what steps you can take to really optimize your food for the brain. Also talking about this as well has been Dr. Leo Galland, episode 28 and episode 84, where he talked about the power of food in helping prevent and reverse the impact of COVID on the brain, as well as appropriate nutritional supplements to really target your mitochondrial energy, which is what is really sapped as part of COVID, attacking your energy centers in your cells, and that's the mitochondria. Karen Mayo in episode 79 talks about the importance of mindful eating. That's really being aware of what you're eating, making sure that you're truly connecting with the food that you're putting in your mouth. And I did the test on chocolate and realized that the chocolate brand that I was eating was 70%. I really actually didn't really like the taste of it. So I know that I can go without it, because my brain doesn't actually, when I connect with that food feeling, the feeling that food gives me and the flavors and the textures, it really doesn't do it for me, rather than just eating it and shoving it in and not really thinking about what you're eating. So that was a really insightful episode. Henry Dimbleby on episode 71 talks about the dearth of toxic foods that we have now in our food chain, which is driven by the food industry to make money, where we're saturated with foods that are super unhealthy for us. These are ultra processed food or highly processed foods that adorn our food shelves. It's really important that we recognise that we have the power to take back control as consumers and make better food choices, more informed food choices, to stop the food industry flooding the market with foods that are really not serving us but really hurting us. And that's really been emphasised also in episode 70, in episode 51 with Dr. Jenny Goodman as well. Dr. Sally Moorcroft talks about the importance of food in mastering menopause. The foods that we eat during our menstrual cycle is really important, as well as the foods that we eat in order to reduce the menopausal symptoms that we experience. She talks about that in detail in episode 70, and Kate Cook, nutritionist, also talks about the importance of positive nutrition and how to be sensational at 60 in episode 48. So I cannot underemphasize the importance of food and the impact it can have, huge impact on your cognitive and your whole body health. And we really don't pay enough attention to that. I certainly didn't when I first started my brain health journey, and oh my goodness, what a difference changing my dietary consumption has made to my sinuses, to my overall health. Of not being on medication for the last 6 or 7 years, and when I was on it constantly. So please be mindful of the food that you put in your body and the food that you also put in your children's bodies too. The second key insight that I've gleaned from all of these episodes is that environmental toxins, including tick-borne diseases, can really trigger autoimmune conditions, and these can be reversed in the same way as Alzheimer's can be reversed. This was talked about in episode 58 by Dr. Craig Shimazaki, is one of the world leading experts in this space, and he talks about how to recover and how to recognise and recover from autoimmune brain disorders, and provides some fantastic case studies where he has shown reversing these conditions. This is often seen in children who have autism spectrum disorder or Asperger's disease. Often the underlying root cause of that can be traced back to toxins that have entered their system and has caused a disruption in their cognitive function. Dr. Jenny Goodman is one of the leading experts in the toxins that we are surrounded with. We live in a toxic soup, and she talks about the importance of how to stay alive in toxic times. Time that we're in now, we never previously experienced as humans. The Industrial Revolution has put a vast number of toxins both in our food system, in our skincare and beauty system, and also in the water that we consume. And a recent case has been one in the States where a judge has ruled the need to reduce or remove fluoride in water, which has been added and is being added here in the UK too, and it is definitely not good for children's health. It actually shows a cognitive decline and a reduction in IQ when fluoride has been added. Fluoride is a toxin. It is not supposed to be used in toothpaste, whatever your dentist may wish to say. It is a toxin for our body, it's a toxin for our mind, and it does not help with brain or bone health. So please do take action there and start removing it from your diet and filter your water. Jenny goes into a whole heap of issues that we experience, and there are some really important key steps that you can take, and loads of information in the show notes on my website for you to take action and mitigate the amount of toxic exposure that you experience. The third insight, which absolutely blew my mind, was the power of redox signaling molecules, and these are really a game changer in mitochondrial health or metabolic health. And this particular focus in medicine, metabolic health or mitochondrial health, is the next frontier in medicine. It is something that we're just starting to scratch the surface on, and we know and have seen phenomenal changes in the health and well-being of people who have been supplementing with redox signaling molecules. Now, Jamie Thompson talks about this in episode 75, about how you can amplify the redox signaling pathways in your body to enhance your mitochondrial health. And he talks about the power of redox in a bottle, which is ASEA, which is this product here, as well as the redox in a gel, which is Renew 28, and these are all certified as containing redox signaling molecules, which are generated by our mitochondria. So if you don't know what your mitochondria are, they are your energy powerhouses of your cells. Think batteries in your cells, and they are necessary and essential for cell life. And not only are they providing you with energy, but they also provide you with, if you think, equivalent electrons that come out of a battery. And as your cells get old, your ability to generate enough electrons for your cells to communicate with each other decline. And these electrons are the redox signaling molecules. And what we need to do, if we are experiencing ill health, what can really help is amplifying those electrons in our body, amplifying the signaling mechanisms so that our cells can communicate better, so that they can repair or replace themselves. And that's what this amazing product does. So please do check out that episode. Very, very insightful. And Dr. Nathan Bryan also talks about the power of the first ever discovered redox signaling molecule, which was nitric oxide, and the importance of that redox signaling molecule in cardiovascular and cognitive health. And he goes into some fantastic insights into how you can enhance nitric oxide in your body naturally, and how you can boost it through supplementation. And he talks about the role of the food that we eat in generating nitric oxide, and the stuff that we put in our body, and how that can really depreciate the amount of nitric oxide we generate. And one of the key things to help you generate nitric oxide in your body is to breathe through your nose. Such a simple thing, and so powerful in enhancing the nitric oxide generated. The fourth key insight that I have discovered from all of the interviews is that you are not alone when it comes to dealing with your pain associated with a past traumatic experience. And there have been many episodes on the show around this. In fact, there's been 26 episodes discussing the aspects associated with suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation, and also suicide prevention. And some people have been on the show talking about how they have survived suicide through their own intervention or the intervention of others. Mike McCarthy came on the show in episode 18 and shared his harrowing story of losing his son Ross to suicide, and the problems with the mental health care system, not identifying and treating it appropriately, given his son had been depressed for a very long period of time. Daniel Mangana in episode 32 talked about how he was dead set on finding the right solution to ensure that he didn't come back from his suicidal attempt. And in the process of researching it at great length, because he wanted to escape his cognitive challenges of having Asperger's, he absolutely discovered that that was the secret to him empowering himself and helping others, leveraging his cognitive diversities, neurodiversity of having Asperger's, and really turned his life around, and he's incredibly successful businessman now. Harold Walter Asman talked about the impact of losing his daughter and some of his family members to suicide. And he talked about the opportunity for a chance for happiness beyond that harrowing situation. Dr. Susanna Petch talked about the psychological impact of trauma, and she comes at it from a doctor that experienced a breakdown, and how she overcame that. And her insights, and the fact she didn't learn much about recognising the signs and symptoms of the stresses she was experiencing during her training as a doctor. Liz McConaughey talks about how she actually saved herself from suicide by phoning the emergency services who came to her rescue when she was very delirious after an overdose. And Rebecca Reed talks about it in episode 50 on the impact, the psychological impact of not being able to breastfeed your baby, and how that truly affected her and led her into a very dark place. So you are not alone. Whatever you are struggling with, from a traumatic experience, from a pain that you have, whether that's emotional pain, physical pain, mental pain, or spiritual pain, please know you're not alone, that there are so many people out there that have been or are going through similar pain to you. And please reach out for help, because help is always there. Someone has been down that tunnel before you, and they are there to help shine the light and show the way. The fifth insight is that there is always hope. And this was really highlighted by Amy Kardashian on episode 4, where she was talking about how she saw light from the shadows as a young girl experiencing the trauma of a Lebanese war, witnessing her brother being blown up in the house that she was living in. And she goes through all of her experiences, and she thinks of hope as having open possibilities every day. And I think that is a wonderful mnemonic for hope, because it really is about having open possibilities every day. And if you have open possibilities every day, which of course there always are, there is always hope. There is always another avenue you can try. There is always another person you can reach out to. There's always another person you can get insight or guidance from, who can signpost you to the right person that gives you the right support for your brain type. So please always know there is hope. And we have had 22 guests on the show talk about the struggles that they've experienced with having adverse childhood experiences, and they've come out the other side. And the key thing here is, with the right tools, the right techniques, and the right coach or the right guide to show you the way, you truly have the power to unchain your pain. In episode 49, Dr. Mark Gordon talks about how you can unchain your pain when you've experienced a traumatic brain injury, and the methods that he uses to do that. Dr. Peter Grunewald in episode 59 talks about how you can develop adaptive resilience, and we discuss the emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual elements of health. Dr. Echo in episode 63 talks about how you can help your children enhance their brain health and what key steps you can take. And we reflect back to toxic exposure and the impact that can have on children's health, particularly mold. In episode 25, Mark Edmondson talks about how he's been able to beat stage 4 terminal cancer, and he's still fighting that fight now. And he gives some fantastic inspiration in that show. Mark Jenkins in episode 2 talks about how he overcame bullying as a child, and he's now an A-list celebrity trainer. And Michael Unbroken in episode 34 talks about his horrific adverse childhood experiences in the hands of his mother, who was a drug addict, and the importance of being the hero of your own story. You have the power, and don't let anybody take that away from you. You need to find it and dig deep and get inside and unlock it. Charlie Smith in episode 5, also who experienced terrible adverse childhood experiences in the hands of his father, talks about being the pen of your own story, the same way as Michael Unbroken does, and focusing on overcoming out loud. And he used an awful lot of different self-help techniques that didn't serve him in the long term and caused breakdown in his marriage and his relationship with his family as his coping mechanism, using alcohol and drugs. And he's turned his life around and is an incredibly successful businessman. And then finally, Amy Kardashian in episode 4 talks about her adverse childhood experiences when she was in a war-torn Lebanon, and we're seeing this now. And she'll be back on the show, as will many other guests, to share some deeper insights in how you truly can unchain your pain and live a healthier, happier life. I hope you found this really insightful. I'm really looking forward to some phenomenal guests that I've got coming on my show as we relaunch again for the next 100 episodes. I'm so excited to share this with you. I'm so excited to learn what insights you glean from the episodes that are coming up with some really fantastic guests and experts. And please do tune in, please do subscribe, please do listen, comment, provide me with feedback. I'm taking on board the feedback that I've received with regards to the interviews I've done today, and I'm going to apply them going forward. So I'm so looking forward to it. Remember, you are not stuck with the brain you have. You have the power to make it better. You have the power to unchain your pain. And my guests have kindly been here to show you how, and will continue to do so and give you inspiration and hope. Hope is having open possibilities every day. I look forward to connecting with you soon.